Hello, everybody, and welcome to the MJM Yachts introduction of our latest model. And what I'd like to do right now is thank all of you for joining us. We really appreciate your time. We got some exciting new information for you, and I'm going to turn it right over to Peter Johnstone.
It's really great to have you all here with us, even if we can't be with each other for an exciting introduction here. It's great to be able to share this day with you all. This is a boat that we've been working on for some time. It really reflects a lot of lifetimes of experience, and we'll get into a little bit of that shortly. MJM is a special company. It was founded by my parents, Bob and Mary Johnstone, in 2002, after a long and very successful career founding and building up the sailboat brand J-Boats. My parents built this company going day to day and dock to dock and spreading the word about a great new Doug Zurn design range of boats called MJM Yachts. It's a classic entrepreneurial story. They built this boat one boat sale at a time over about 17 years. They're now in their mid-80s. Mom and Dad, if you're out there, thank you for everything you've done building this brand. It's a special brand. We're into our second generation. Both Mackenzie and I are involved. Chris has already given me way too much credit. I really perform the long-range planning and the product development role. Mackenzie's involved as our sales coordinator. This business and this brand is really everything we do. Last summer, we managed to spend 5 months aboard Z, our 10-year-old restored MJM 40Z, cruising up the East Coast to Maine and back from Charleston. We live, eat, and breathe these boats. No detail goes unnoticed. It's part of what sets this brand apart. That's a tradition started by my parents. It's a tradition that we will keep going. We're more than just the Johnstone family. The heart and soul of this business are several families. We have the Knowles family at East Coast Yacht Sales, have been with MJM since almost the beginning. His son Ben is actively involved in the business, runs one of their offices. Ken and Jen Comerford run North Point Yacht Sales. They were the very first MJM dealer. They handle the Chesapeake area. Bill and Brett McGill run a big family business called Marine Max. They are a large portion of our Florida market and will be helping us in some other markets soon, as particularly in my area in the Southeast, as MJM takes more and more of my time. And in the lower right, Augie Diaz and his family in the Miami and Fort Lauderdale area. Augie's been a part of our family since the early 70s when he raced in a U.S. youth regatta organized by my father. These connections run deep. There is serious commitment of these families and dedication, and you'll find that, like our family, each of these families are avid and active boaters, and boating is a core part of their families and their activities and their lives. And this is what really sets MJM apart. From the brand through its dealers to the differences you'll see in the boats, it comes from a lifelong commitment to sharing the love of boating and spreading that love of boating from our families and their families to your families. We'd like to make a special tribute to Howie McMichael. Howie and his family have shared over 40 years of boating with us, working with us through two brands. Really, it's the communication and the passion and the dedication to families and to boating that led to the 3Z. Howie's sales boss, Michael Beers, spoke up at a dealer meeting about a year ago and said, guys, what we're doing is great, but we've got to do an even better job for day boating. A lot of our boats are used 80% of the time for day use. There was room in the market to do something even better. Howie, bless your heart and your soul. Thank you for being with us 40 years. Rest in peace, Michael Beers, and all of the families of dealers with us and our customers. Thank you for the ongoing and regular inspiration and source of ideas. Families outperform all other businesses. We have longer term views. We do things for the right reasons. There's more innovation. There's more back and forth. There's more communication, sometimes stronger communication. The bonds are stronger. They're longer lasting. And our families live to share boating with your families. That's what really separates MJM from all other brands in the market. MJM has some core product values that really set us apart. Number one, Doug Zurn's stunning and timeless lines. You'll see a 10, 15-year-old MJM looks better, performs better than all of our competitors' current boats. We will continue along those timeless lines that we're renowned for. Sometimes it doesn't lead to the most modern, but over time it leads to what I would regard as heirloom quality product that you already see families passing down between generations. We will always have high-tech composites. Safety and performance are an absolute priority for us. It's the reason that our boats cost more and perform better as we spend the money on high-tech composites. We have a lower center of gravity, which means less motion, less roll. All of our boats have terrific 360-degree visibility from the salon. And final detail, and it's an important one, our business and all of our dealerships, they're run by avid yachtsmen. All of our product development is a result of avid yachtsmen. The details really matter. And I think that anyone that's spent time on an MJM will know that where you would expect the handrail, you put your hand out, there's a perfect handrail placement. The ergonomics of the boats are perfect. There's no surprises. You can push these boats to the limit. The boats will handle anything. And you'll find that there'll be no quirks in the handling or the way they perform or the way they feel or the comforts. These boats are the result of several lifetimes of experience. This is what really sets us apart. It's a point that we'll come back to time and again. We develop and build yachts and inspire the core activity for our owners and their families, to enable shared adventures, to make lives special and bonds stronger. It's what we do. I want to introduce Peter Truslow. Peter, I brought on board as our CEO recently. He was the co-founder and CEO of Edgewater Powerboats for 20 years. He did a fabulous job restarting Bertram over the last 6 or 7 years. I count him as a lifelong friend. I regard him as one of the true professionals in the business. I can't imagine having a better CEO on our team. Peter, a huge warm welcome to you on board with MJM.
Thank you, Peter J. It's really good to be part of the family. I've known the Johnstones, of course, for years, and many of the dealers that you referred to. And I think it's really great for me as the new member of the family to help you introduce this new concept that I am familiar with but is done in a unique Johnstone Zurn way. So today I'm going to show you a little bit, and Doug will introduce you to the new day yacht.
Peter, thanks for having me. And what an honor it's been for the past 18 years to be associated with this brand, starting with your dad and Mary on hull number 1 of Rockland, Maine, to today and what we've come up with here. So, you know, it's been a great ride, and we look forward to it continuing to be a great ride on this beautiful hull here and on many more to come. So,
No pun intended. Doug's hulls are renowned for a great ride.
yeah. They perform above and beyond what you might typically be accustomed to. I would say this is a part of my history, having grown up sailing on the Great Lakes and here in New England, and appreciating what waves and water can do to a boat, combining the high-tech construction that comes with typical sailboat designs, incorporating that into powerboat designs, paying attention to wave interaction with hulls, designing and building a stable platform, a platform that you can predict how it's going to perform. You know what it's going to do in those speed ranges that we typically cruise in here between, you know, 25 and 35 knots. Still perform at the top end at 50 knots and still perform well at the bottom end in good tracking, at low speed tracking, good low speed maneuverability. We take all those things into consideration when we design a hull, and we take it all into consideration.
Doug, well, I'm a huge fan. Having run a lot of powerboats with Peter Truslow during the Edgewater years, I have to say the hulls that you've created are outstanding.
You know, in the old days, Nat Hairshot used to build a model in 3D. Then he would take the offsets off it and he would create the actual boat. Today, we're doing the same thing, but we're doing it in a computer. And the advantage of that is just huge. Instead of spending 40 hours on a hull lines drawing 20 years ago and having one shot at it, we're able to pull and tweak a hull lines drawing to accommodate what we are putting inside it. Here you see the new 3Z. We've got some beautiful deck space available to many passengers. We've got a new windscreen design that allows great protection from the elements when the weather turns south, but is still available, like all the MJMs have always been, to be opened up and allow the air in that, you know, we so much enjoy when we're on the water. Bob used to call this the fly bridge of the runabout style boats, because it really was sort of being like on a fly bridge with all the windows open. We take into consideration everything when we design a boat, all the weights and centers and materials and functionality, all has to get incorporated into the hull and into the deck design so that it works. But we're excited about this boat. It's going to run just like all the other MJMs have run. It's going to have a nice running attitude, an open transom design. We have some flip down bolster seats to provide a bed back there. We've widened the windscreen area out to the gunnels, so you've got more space on the interior of this boat, similar to a 40Z. We're sticking with the comfortable stid chairs in the interior, the forefoot of the boat, which does a lot of the business of slicing through those short, steep waves that you might encounter. We've got a bow seating area that can accommodate people. We have some hull ports that are integral with the hull that allow light into the interior spaces below, which include a very large head to port and a nice storage area to starboard for ditching bags come on board. The low profile of the boat, which, you know, from a windage standpoint is key in reducing drag. Not only water, but wind can induce drag in a boat and slow it down. We have a fine entry, and that allows us to pierce the waves. We still maintain some Carolina flare up in the bow to help throw the water down and away from the hull.
So here is the boat in its one of many beautiful angles, and I think once again, as someone very familiar with this category, the dual console boat, which really has taken off because it does so much for family boating. I think what you see here with MJM, that no company really marries form and function together so well. So you have a really, really clean looking hull. Obviously a nod to some down east tradition, which I like. You know, the shear line is really elegant, but as Doug pointed out, and you'll see, there's so much more function in this boat. And there's really 3 sections to live in, and you can see that the visibility and the great, I call it the great room, bridge deck. I think Bob Johnstone did a really good job convincing people you don't need a fly bridge because this boat's main deck is a fly bridge. You can see it all in this 3Z. And in today's times, and in talking to a lot of MJM customers, what I have really heard is that they use their current MJMs. It could be a 35 or a 53. They use them, you know, for cruising, but they also mostly use them for day trips because they are so easy to get up and going, and they can run really quickly. So they're so practical. So this is a boat exclusively designed for day trips. I guess you could cover up a little bit and enjoy some camping. This really solves the basic needs of the modern boating family and of a lot of MJM owners who may actually own a 53 and a 3Z.
Well, it's a really timely layout and product too for these times. I think that we're going to find in the next year or so, a lot of the boating is going to be day boating just because of possible restrictions.
Well, this shows off a little bit of what I was talking about earlier. There's a ton of seating on board and lounging space. If you want your sun, you can go aft or forward. Of course, there's optional biminis and sun covers available for that space if you want. But we have aft, we have a flip down bolster backrest that convert that area into really a lounging area, so you can come off from swimming and sit down on the seat and dry off and enjoy yourself there, watch your kids swim. Going forward, we've got a wet bar to port with a pull-out refrigerator drawer. We've got a grill top to starboard. We've got storage underneath there, underneath the aft seats there. As is customary on all MJMs, we've just got tons of storage back aft in this boat, which is great for inner tubes or fishing gear, coolers. We've got a spot for a large cooler underneath the port seat aft, in addition to the refrigerator. Going forward, we have a traditional sort of MJM bridge deck layout that provides storage port and starboard for more accessories and more toys and that sort of thing, but with the skid seats forward and then the dash in front of that. And of course, what's really wonderful about this is in the early days, we used to sleep on the boats at the boat shows, and I spent 2 boat shows at the Miami Boat Show at Sea Isle Marine on a 34Z up on the deck here in these berths with the air conditioner sort of whirling away and cars buzzing by on the bridge. And it was wonderful. So we actually have a nice place to camp out here if you want to, which you can't find in a lot of boats. The seating up on the bridge deck area, while it might be comfortable for riding, it's not functional for sleeping, and it's a little convoluted, but this is a little bit more functional. It's straightforward. Got a great new dash layout on this boat. We're really trying to bring the whole dash in the bridge deck area a little bit further along, and just clean it up. More glass cockpit style, you know, more touchscreen. Just get rid of some of the miscellaneous information that you really don't need right there at your fingertips, but it's still available. On the port side, we have a large head, which you can kind of see ghosted in there. It has a shower. It's an automatic flushing head. The starboard, I mentioned earlier, a utility room in there, chuck space for duffel bags or bags, that sort of thing. Good access to some systems on board, which again is another thing that, you know, it's I spent my time, I started in the service industry, so I appreciate, you know, scratch knuckles and everything. We really try to place items in the MJMs where you can get to them to service them. And it's really something we try hard on to accomplish. And then up forward, we've got a great seating area. We've got cup holders, we've got handholds. It's at a comfortable depth where your arms, you're relaxed when you're sitting in it. And then underneath those seats, we have molded in storage for any number of things. We've got deep enough storage for a scuba tank in one side. We've got storage forward. And then all the way forward is a small anchor locker. We've got a self-deploying anchor, as you can see, up at the stem, embedded into the stem with a windlass underneath there, and a wash down as well. It's a super layout. We've eliminated the door to port in favor of a larger L-shaped settee to port, but we still have the walk-through side door to starboard. I know it's a boat I'd like to run, that's for sure. And you're all familiar with what we've been practicing with all of our windscreens to date, and that is that the front window's open. We've incorporated that into this design as well as the side slider window. The air passes through here. You've got shade underneath there. You can run through at night at slow speeds. It's great to be able to see without a window in front of you. The visibility is phenomenal. When the weather turns south, unlike some of the other boats, you can really button this up and you can run with some heat on if you want, or with some AC on. So it's really the best of both worlds. I haven't seen anything like this in this market other than what we've done previously with fiberglass windscreens, but I think this is going to be a real winner.
And the whole back end of the pilot house buttons up as well with roll down enclosures.
And you can see also that this is the L-shaped settee aft in its stowed position. It's a nice place to hang out, relax while the boat's underway. We have a gate aft to keep critters from falling out the back end of the boat. So, and also I want to other note is the walk through to the port side in front of the engines. You know, the Merc engines are sort of designed in a different way, in a fashion that they tilt, and they don't require as deep a bucket. So we're able to have a little bit more space back there, and it's a lot easier to get back and forth across the aft end of the boat there, especially with if you got wet feet.
I think you two have captured the absolute essence of what the new 3Z is. The 3Z is 3 zones of fun, really set up for everyone's families to enjoy a terrific day on the water. We want you all to have your family contact our families and get aboard an MJM, and specifically one of the new 3Zs.
This information is all, including the actual specifications, is available on the website. We have a lot of MJM enthusiasts in the audience, and we have some in the press. And if anyone in the press would like to ask us any questions now, we'd be happy to answer.
Well, good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to meet you all, even though it's online. I'm an old J24 sailor of 20-some years out in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I'm extremely familiar with how to race that boat and everything involved with it. So Peter, it's a pleasure to actually see you and meet you. The new hull design, I remember seeing a video on the 44Z, I think, and you had been very specific about how the boat handles as it goes from the backside of a wave, crests it, and then is able to control it down the front side of the wave. With this hull design, is it, even though the flare is not quite as much, do you believe that it still handles that type of rough water as the 44 does?
I can speak to that through design, and Peter can speak to that through a little bit more experience because they have more time running the smaller MJMs than I do. The answer is yes. The reason why the 40Z and all the MJMs and all of our boats run the way they do is because we balance the center of gravity, the launcher center of gravity, over the running surface of the bottom of the boat in the right location, not too far aft, not too far forward. And then we combine that with some rocker forward, and that means is you're looking at the hull bottom in the profile, instead of going deep in the forefoot, it'll rock up a little bit. And that enables the boat to not go bow steering when you're going down a wave. So those same details are incorporated into this boat, and I have no concerns at all that this boat won't run in the same way that video that you watched was.
I can give you a direct experience example. We were running the 43Z and the very similar 35Z home from the Wilmington Boat Show a year or two ago. Mackenzie was driving the 35Z, I was on the 43Z, and we went offshore. And I had to keep calling Mackenzie on the VHF to wait up for me because she had the hammer down. And the boat was going through the open ocean conditions as well as the 43Z.
Oh, hey guys. Beautiful lines on the boat. Congratulations, very successful. I have kind of I guess a business question. I've been following you guys for a long time, and it seems like for maybe 10 to maybe 15 years, you kind of had that down east / outboard market to yourself. But you're moving in, it seems, into a new category with this open boat. I'm wondering if you're looking for a new type of buyer, or you're looking at a new type of buyer, and also, you know, you're suddenly going to be facing a lot of very established brands in that segment. So, could you tell us anything about that game plans for addressing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, MJM's focus was always on express cruisers because my dad never wanted to spend an extra nickel on hotels. And he always stayed aboard the boats at boat shows. So I think the idea of a day boat was off the table. MJM's core original market was New England and the Chesapeake. And the sort of core segment that our roots come from are express cruisers. But we deliver something that is far better than the other offerings on the market. And as I got involved in the Southeast growing the MJM market, that really led to the outboards for the shoal draft. And the boating culture south of New York City is very much a day boating culture. So in order to make the brand more appealing or more broadly to widen our market, we really needed to address the way people boat around the country. And, you know, it's starting to show already just with MJM's expansion in Florida and the Southeast, particularly the Carolinas in recent years. The outboards have enabled more people to enjoy our brand. And this new day layout will really put the boat in the sweet spot of how a lot of people use their boats in the rest of the country. It'll be equally as suitable for New England, but for any of you out there that are south of New York all the way around to the Texas market, this is the way most people boat. And this boat is aimed directly at them. And we will always have our core express cruisers as the heart and soul of our brand. What we're trying to do is to bring the benefits of the MJM brand and the core product values to a wider market.
Hey, how y'all doing? Thanks for having us. This is awesome. I have a couple of questions. I'll try and make them brief. The first is when we get to see the 3Z in person. What's the timeline?
Dieter.
Okay, I'm on the hot seat for that one. No, we're really excited about this because just about all the tooling is complete, and we are going to build the 3Z alongside the 35Z at our new factory, Washington, North Carolina. We will have this at a big boat show at the end of the fall.
Hi, Pim Van Hemmen, Soundings Magazine. Looks like a nice boat. My question is, does the walkthrough close up completely under the center windshield? You talked about buttoning it up. How do you close it up, or do you?
There's a door that sits flush here in the FRP. It folds open and it's gasket sealed, and you can see right here, this is a fairly hefty deck drain right here, so that any water that does sort of splash in this area will run down that. While underway with the windscreen closed and the door closed, you'll have complete protection from the elements there. Well, I got to tell you, I cannot catch a fish to save my life, but as far as fishing options go, we have installed rod holders and stuff in the past on MGMs, and maybe the Peter Treslow or Peter Johnstone can talk to that. We expect speeds of this boat with the 300s, in the neighborhood of 50 miles an hour, similar to the performance we get out of the other outboard boats that we're producing for MJM right now.
And on the fishing side, actually, the MJMs have pretty good natural fishing layouts. You've got the distance from basically the end of the cockpit outboard of the outboards is relatively short. If you look at the transom of the boat, the cockpits are pretty big. We can put outriggers on the roof now. So, there are options, and we could plumb for a bait well in either of those consoles if need be. And there is storage for, a fish box. So it's an all-around multi-purpose boat.
We're really excited to be here in front of all of you, and really grateful for each of you tuning in, and can't wait to get you all out on this new 3Z. I want to thank my parents for creating such a fabulous brand and a fabulous extended family of dealers, of MJM owners, and just the general goodwill. It's really a unique brand. I'm super grateful to be a part of it. I want to thank Peter Treslow for coming to work with me again. We did about 8 years together with Edgewater as partners, and I'm so excited to have him on board. Doug, we are the luckiest brand in the world to have you as our exclusive designer. All the boats I've ever run, and just seeing the level of design you put into each boat, it's really a pleasure. And that pleasure of working with these people, the dealers and Peter and Doug and my parents, Mackenzie and everyone on the MJM team, I believe you're going to see that shining through with every detail and with every wave these boats take. So thank you everyone for tuning in.